to the Live Tech Australia news for September the 2nd, 2010. In Apple news, Apple has had their special conference which was held once a year, and they have released new products for this year's lineup, including iPod Touches, iPod Nanos, new iPod Shuffles, and a new Apple TV. Apple has also released their new iOS 4.1 version, which will include some new features. Head on over to the Apple website to find out more about the iOS 4.1, which will be available very soon. The new iPod Touch has a new redesign. It's even thinner than the last one. I don't know how thin these things are going to get in the coming years. I mean, one day it's going to be like as thin as a credit card, and it's going to snap. I could just see it happening. These things are getting thinner by the moment. The new iPod Touch also has FaceTime. This means it has a front-facing camera for FaceTime calls, and it also means it has a back-facing camera for 720p high-definition recording, which can now be uploaded straight to YouTube from the actual device. It also has a new A4 chip, which makes it even faster, and can pretty much do everything that the iPhone 4 can do now except make calls. These two products, the iPhone 4 and the iPod Touch, are getting so close to each other now that either one, well, pretty much the iPod Touch is going to become probably what's the word? Probably extinct very soon. This is because, well, they're so similar. Why do we need them? I guess some people will prefer it because it's cheaper, which is true. It's a very good device for the price. But that's pretty much it. It has a new Retina display like the iPhone 4. And new iOS 4 on it, so that's very cool. But the only thing, it doesn't take pictures, which kind of sucks. I guess it's thinner to fit a video camera inside a iPod Touch than an actual sensor for the camera. So that's why Apple puts video cameras in most of their thinner products, such as the new iPod Touch or the last generation iPod Nano. The iPod Touch will retail for about $289 starting point in Australia. And yeah, that's about it for the iPod Touch. Moving on, Apple also released a new iPod Nano, which is very similar to their new iPod Shuffle. It basically looks the exact same size, same everything, except it has a screen on it, a touch screen. So Apple has thrown away the whole click wheel technology, which they pretty much loved in the beginning, and they've pretty much abandoned it for the touchscreen, multi-touch technology on the Nano itself. Just so you can get a general idea of how small this new Nano is compared to the last one. The last one was around this big. The new one is around the size of 4 keys on your keyboard. So that's around this many. That's how small the new iPod Nano is. It's very small from what I've heard. Around the size of 4 keys on your keyboard. So it has a new screen on it, which it's pretty cool, but it's very, like I said before about the last product, the iPod Touch, it's very close to the iPod Shuffle. So the iPod Shuffle and the iPod Nano are now getting very close to each other, and I'm pretty sure the Shuffle will cancel out in the end. I mean, who is buying the Shuffle anymore? So that's pretty much it about the new iPod Nano. It retails for around $199 for the baseline model in Australia. Moving on to the iPod Shuffle. I don't know who's buying these things anymore, but it's pretty much like the new iPod Nano. Basically, Apple, in their, I believe it was 3rd generation iPod Nano, pretty much had, pretty much looked like what the size of the iPod Nano is today. Pretty much looked like that size, and it had sort of a round, circular motion of buttons. I think it was 4 buttons in a round shape. So pretty much now Apple has gone back to that shape after their last generation iPod Shuffle, which was just a strip of metal with absolutely no buttons, and it pretty much just had the strip of the metal, the actual iPod Shuffle, and the headphones plugged in. But this new one has the buttons again, so some people must have wrote into Apple and said, "Give me back the buttons." they've given you back the buttons, so don't worry about that. But like I said, the new iPod Shuffle, it's so close to this iPod Nano. I'm pretty sure they're going to cancel that out eventually. The new iPod Nano and the new iPod Shuffle both have clips on the back because they look so similar. They're pretty much the exact same size. That's pretty much it about the iPod Shuffle. It pretty much has the same features as the last generation iPod Shuffle. It still speaks to you and tells you what playlist you're listening to, what song you're listening to. That's pretty much it for the new iPod Shuffle. I believe it also speaks to you now when your battery is dying, and it will tell you to charge the device. So the new iPod Shuffle retails for around 69 Australian dollars for the baseline model, and that brings us to our last and final product of the update this September, which is the Apple TV. Apple hasn't really had such good sales with the Apple TV. It's not one of their most booming products that they've invented. But quite a few people still do buy it. Now, I'm not really an expert on the Apple TV, but from what I've understood was the last generation had a hard drive in it to actually download and and store episodes from iTunes that you have purchased. Now, Apple has actually made it much smaller. They've changed the color of the box from white to black, which kind of actually looks very nice. It's very small in the pictures. It's pretty much been this size, which is quite small. So that's much better. But the reason I believe for this lack of size now in the Apple TV is they do not have a hard drive in it. Everything's apparently in the cloud, streaming. It's not so much about downloading things and storing them on a hard drive anymore on your Apple TV. Apple has also changed the price of TV shows now to 99 cents US, I believe. So that would be roughly $1 or just over $1 in Australia. So that's the new price for renting HD TV shows. They've actually gotten rid of the Buy It Now TV show button. You can only rent TV shows now. For some reason they don't want you to buy TV shows now. Now this would bug me because I like to keep TV shows. I don't like to rent them and then be rushed to watch them. Oh, you only have 24 hours to watch it, otherwise it's going to disappear. Yeah, I don't like that. There must have been some copyright issues that Apple had to sort of overcome, so that's why they're only renting TV shows now instead of actually saying, here you go, here's a TV show, you can store it for as long as you want. So that's pretty much it. I do have to say one good thing about the Apple TV besides its new design, which kind of actually looks like the new Mac Mini. The Apple TV only costs 129 Australian dollars for the baseline model, which is much cheaper. It's also 99 US dollars for the baseline model, which is very cheap, very affordable, and it will look great next to any new modern TV, flat screen TV, or anything like that. So those are the new products that Apple has released for this September edition of the 2010 Apple Special event. And I hope you guys have some money in your credit cards to go buy some of those stuff. And we'll see you later, guys, and rate, comment, and subscribe. That's all for the news today. We'll see you later.